Hello. Today we are going to make a glass heart. So I'm going to show you, you may have ordered the single glass heart kit or the double glass heart kit. I'll show you a single heart and then you can make variations on that. As you can see by these three examples we have here, they're different colors, different patterns, and different glass elements were used. So let's get started, and I will open up the kit. This is very similar to what you'll receive. In the kit we have a bag of clear glass. We have a bag of colored glass. And when you order the kit, you have the opportunity to request specific colors. So if you have a specific color in mind, those colors will definitely be in the box as well. We've got some glass beads that you can add in, glass confetti, glass stringers, which are fun to add in as well, and crushed glass frit in different colors. As I mentioned, the colors that you request will be in there. And then we have two different kinds of clear frit, which I will get to in a moment. Most importantly, we have our heart. When glass melts to a sort of a jello state, which is, depending on the type of glass, between 450 to 480 degrees Fahrenheit, it will want to spread out to about 1/4 of an inch thick. So because we want these hearts to be thicker than that, we want them to be a bit chunkier, we're going to use a form. And so when the glass turns to jello, it will stay in the shape thicker and not spread out like a pancake. So that's why we have the metal form here. Now when you receive it, chances are this paper will also be just tacked down with some painter's tape. This tile is going to be going into the kiln, which is why you've got it in your kit. It's basically so that I can take this, once you deliver it back to me, and put the whole thing directly into the kiln without moving anything, so that your design will stay exactly how you intended it. So what I've done is this paper is a special paper that goes into the kiln. It's not regular paper, so please leave it in place. There's also more of that paper around the inside of this metal heart, and that's so that the glass doesn't stick to the metal. So again, please leave that paper in place. That's integral to being able to pop the glass out once it's fired. So what I've done is just glued the heart in a few spots. I've just tacked it onto the special kiln paper, and that's so that it doesn't move around in transport. So if for some reason your heart comes loose from the paper, there is a little pot of glue in here. Use this glue, and you can just put a couple beads on there to keep it in place. This glue is also good if there's some element, like say you wanted to put specific little dots in specific places, then you can use the toothpick, add a tiny bit of glue, and that will just keep those elements in place while you're filling up your glass heart. But let's get to the how-to, and guaranteed no matter what you do, it's going to look great. Start with the clear glass, because I like to put a layer of clear glass down at the bottom first. That adds to the depth of the piece, I find, and makes it easy to have a nice clean smooth bottom on the heart. I'm going to get some glasses on. In your kit there will be some safety glasses. I'm going to use these so that I can also see better. And so we're going to start with putting a little bit of clear glass on the bottom. There are a pair of mosaic nippers in your kit, and these are going to be really important for cutting the glass. So I'm just going to tell you a few tips on how to use them. One is the mosaic nippers have screws right here. You want to make sure those screws are always facing the ceiling. If you're facing the ceiling with the screws and you put the glass in from above like this and squeeze, the glass will go straight down. If you're aiming those screws in other directions, I'll just give you an example, the glass is going to shoot elsewhere, and so that can be dangerous for the person sitting next to you, and you don't want to have to chase your glass all over the place. You can also get a little Tupperware container, a little bowl, if you want to just clip your pieces into a dish, but I'll just give you a example right here on the table. So another point about using the cut glass, we're going to use pieces that are about this big. So I would say for a heart this size, you don't want anything bigger than a quarter. And that's so that they all fit in nicely and you're not trapping air. One of the principles of this particular design is not to put too big a piece of glass in there, in amongst a whole bunch of smaller pieces of glass. What can happen is you can trap a big pocket of air in there, and though you do get some lovely little champagne bubbles when it's finished, a big pocket of air could mean a hole in your heart, or a big ugly bubble, or a bubble that has a very thin surface that's dangerous because it could pop and the glass could be sharp. So we're doing small pieces of glass all the way along so that the air can escape. As the glass melts, the air will escape out through the various pieces. So try and keep the pieces small. So I'm just gonna add these little clear pieces in to the bottom. I'll just go do that to show you. I don't think the glue is quite dry on my heart here because I just put it in, so the heart might start to slide down the paper, but okay. So don't worry if there are gaps. You don't have to, oh my goodness, it would be incredible to try and get each piece to fit perfectly in all these layers. So don't worry, they can be overlap a bit, there can be gaps. Because you're layering up several pieces, you can easily overlap on the next one, and when it melts, it will all push into the shape of the heart, so you don't have to worry. Still need some pieces. I cheated and pre-cut some smaller pieces too, so that I wouldn't bore you with my nipping. The other thing I should mention is that a lot of the pieces of glass have black marker on them. That's Sharpie marker, and that's very commonly found on my pieces of glass, and it burns off in the kiln, so you don't have to clean it off. Just ignore that it's there. So I'm just going to put a few more pieces of clear in here. There. And then maybe what I'll do is put a few pieces of colored glass. Let's go for some blue. Maybe some blue. Oh, it's so hard to decide. Maybe some red. I'll do red. So this again is a piece of scrap from a circle, so that's why it's got this weird shape. So I'm just going to do some and this time I'm going to do very, very tiny. Whoop! This is why it's good to have a bowl if you want to grab a little container to do this into. Okay, so now I can sprinkle my little red pieces in here. couple more. I don't really mind where they land, so I'll do it straight into the heart. There. Maybe I'll also put some confetti in. So the confetti is really cool. It's very, very, very thin glass, and how it's made is really cool. There are videos online. It's at the glass factory, they create a big ball of glass on a pipe, and then they blow it and blow it and blow it and blow it until it's this huge balloon of thin glass, and then they shatter it. They break it against the side of a container, and it this thin balloon of glass shatters into zillions of shards of thin glass. So anyway, it's really neat. You should check that out online. So I'm gonna, as you can see, you can just break them with your fingers. They're really easy to work with. There. Obviously it is glass, so be careful not to poke yourself with it, but it's pretty easy to break it up. And there we go. I'm doing very tiny pieces, but for these you could do bigger. Like you could put pieces this size in, no problem, because that's about the size that we can use with our cut glass as well. And I think now what I might do is I might do a design with the crushed glass. So in order to do the design, it would be very difficult right now because the glass is all up and down and bumpy because I've got all different shards of glass in there. So what I'm going to do is take the clear irid. This is iridized glass, and it is clear glass that has a thin film on it that has an iridized a coating on it. So when you look really closely, it'll be really hard to tell in the video, but when you look closely, it has a rainbow effect. So it kind of adds a little extra shine and glimmer to the heart. So what I'm going to do now, let's throw that in there. I'm going to grab a spoon that's in the kit, and I'm going to spoon out a layer of this onto the glass, and that's going to kind of level it up for me. I like to put the irid in between the layers. It is a metallic finish, and on top of the layers, it looks really cool on top too. Whoops. But on top of the layers, it kind of has a bit of a metallic finish in the spots where it is, and I find that it's smoother putting just the regular clear on top. This will make sense to you once you've seen the glass. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that because we can, I can flatten it all out. I can use my finger to just flatten it, and then I can use this on another layer as well, or you know, I've given you way more glass than you need for I mean, for this one heart you've got tons of glass, so it's just so that you have options. If you wanted to use this thicker, you can. If you want to use more of something else, you can have tons of layers of all colored cut glass. There are lots of options. You can also just sprinkle the crushed colored glass in just the same way as I did the iridized glass, or you can make patterns with it just by where you place it. So I was thinking I might do sort of a border with the pink. And maybe I'll do something else on the inside. There, that's pretty good. Maybe I'll do, I have red here. Now, many of the colors, the reds, the oranges, and the yellows change color after they're fired. So this color is gonna go a deep red when it's fired. And I'm just gonna put a little I'm not sure how much you can see of this inside the... Again, you don't have to go into so much detail. You can just layer it all up, because a lot of these guys that I did, this is confetti and crushed glass frit and the iridized glass. This is layers of different colors of confetti, and that's it. This one has confetti and frit and stringers, which are these guys. And this one has cut glass, yellow cut glass that's been chopped up with the mosaic clippers, iridized glass, which I'm not sure if you can see that. There's some crazy reflection in there, and some little tiny beads in there as well. So you can decide how you want to approach it in a variety of different ways. So now I've got that layer down. Maybe I'll put another layer of iridized over that. Just have lots of iridized. What we're aiming to do is fill it up to the thickness of the metal. We don't want to go over, because we don't want the glass to spill out. But you want it to be up as high as the thickness, because as you can see, it comes down quite a bit. When all the air is out of it, its thickness comes down. So you want to make sure. I'm making a good mess here. Can you see the inside of this? Okay. There. So see how we've got a nice flat surface again to work with. So now on this flat surface, you can add other design elements. You could add some stringers through, some of the beads, wherever the beads went. There are all kinds of different colors in here. I think maybe I'll put some stringer in. All different colors in here. Put one there and one there. I think that's good. Okay. And then I think I'm gonna do just one more layer. Now the last one you have here is clear frit, and you can use this inside the layers as well, but save some for the very top, because that gives it a beautiful shine on the finished piece to have the clear frit on the top. If you're doing all cut glass, which you could fill this entire thing just by using these cut pieces, you could, and the mosaic nippers, you could fill the whole thing just with cut glass. Don't worry too much about capping that. Still looks nice to cap it off with the crushed glass, but you can avoid everything else and just use the cut glass as well. There's no end to the combinations. Okay, so the clear glass, you can use the spoon, or because I'm not really concerned about where I'm putting it, just tip it in. There. There. That's great. We're at the top. Perfect. So there's your filled heart, and now it's going to go back into your box. You're going to put all of these other pieces into the bag that's included in the box so that it doesn't disturb your glass, and then it'll come back to the studio. I'm going to fire it in the kiln twice. First time it's going to be fired in the metal heart. And then the second time I'm going to fire it on its own at a lower temperature, and that'll just smooth out the edges a little bit more if anything got rough on the edges. And then it'll be ready for you to enjoy. Have fun with it. Don't hesitate to call me if you have any questions at all.